Hello, you, and welcome to another stream. No music at the start of the stream this time, because Nithin is joining us, and I couldn't be bothered to. No sound at all, Sam. Can you not hear me? I see the problem. Okay, I have identified the issue. My mic was muted. That was all it was. Thanks for catching that, Sam. Though I always appreciate you. Make sure you let me know if you can hear me now. Sound has arrived. Okay. Yeah. So should I do the intro again? It doesn't matter. No music this time because well, I mean, I could have played music, but Nithin's here with us. Nithin, can you say hello?
Hello?
Hi. So let me know, guys, how Nithin is sounding. As he talks, let me know if I need to turn him up. But it's good to have you back, Nithin. It's good to have you back for another coaching session. But I wanted to, I fired up the stream a little bit early because I wanted to catch up with you. You were in SCG Atlanta, right? And it does seem like literally everybody, everybody in the Magic Network went to SCG Atlanta. It seems like it was a
Yeah,
huge event. And you headed down there, you played Hellraiser in Standard, yeah?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I saw a lot of people I've seen only on stream or on YouTube. I saw Jim Davis, Doomwake, and yeah, a bunch of just people. I didn't really walk up to anyone and talk, but like it was pretty cool to just, see them.
Yeah. And how did it, I mean, what did you actually do? It was a 2-day event. Did you play across both days? What was it? Was it just a standalone event or was it like an RCQ or something was it a GP? I don't actually know.
So it's mainly a convention, so they have a lot of like buying and selling cards. That's one part of it, but they just have a ton of events over the course of the 3 days. So it was January 3rd to 5th. Yeah, so like the main event, it's the Spotlight Series that started on Saturday, January 4th, and it was a 2-day event with like I think around 1,500 players participating in the tournament. I didn't do too well in that one. I started with a win streak. I was 3-0, and then
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of games in a row, so I was out, and yeah, didn't make it to day two. But then on day two, there was a RCQ, 10K RCQ with about 350 players, and I almost made top eight of that one.
I
I lost in the
see.
last game, game three. I did flood, but it was really close. It was yeah, it was a bunch
And
of
how
fun.
much
I
paper
did
do
do
you
a lot
play?
there.
Like, have you played many paper tournaments?
No, like I think this was my first paper tournament. I did play a ton on the weekends, so like by the 10K RCQ, I was much better at playing in paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was definitely a good experience for me.
There's a whole new skill set when you start playing on paper. And to be fair, there's a small subset of skills that are come with playing on arena. It's mostly just down to like making inferences from how auto tapper is tapping and trying to and reading priority and stuff. It's such a different set of skills when you're playing in paper. There's so much
Yeah.
more like game theory that comes into it. Do you think that impacted your play at all?
Yeah, well, like some of the simpler things, I would say like evaluating a moment of truth where like you have to look at your hand and the three cards at the same time. Like I found that a little bit hard.
Yeah.
Like I would have to like remember the cards in my hand because obviously I can't show the cards to the opponent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Another
Yeah.
thing is like uh yeah, like just looking at what cards are in the graveyard. Like
Mm-hmm.
I experimented with a bunch of different graveyard layouts. I tried moving my deck like a little more to the I had my deck on the right side, and moved it more to the left, and then had my graveyard vertically. I also tried like laying them out in threes. Still haven't confirmed which is the best because the opponent can also see my graveyard quite clearly.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a tell for them as well.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
definitely
there's
is,
like a
right? Like
bunch
if you're
of
laying out your graveyard in threes, they know something is up.
yeah, and like missing triggers. Like I missed a ton of tunnel grinder triggers this
Uh-huh.
weekend. I don't think it impacted overall too many of my games,
Yeah,
but like obviously the opponent can just like say no, you don't get the tunnel grinder triggered.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I think it like I maybe lost like one game because of it.
So obviously it depends how far. Like ultimately, it's always a judge call, but process home grinder is not an optional trigger. So like if you forgot it, and then like let's say at the beginning of your next turn, you're like, oh, this should have an extra counter on it, and it shouldn't. Like if you're going from 1 to 2 counters, I don't think your opponent can actually contest that really, because it's not an option. It's you. What you'd be doing
Yeah.
there is just readjusting the game state. But then it does get complicated if you're like, oh, this would have flipped last turn, and then I would have had 1 extra red mana over your whole turn and a Torch of Tower in hand, and a Torch of Tower in hand, and then it's like, oh well, now it's a bit of a
Yeah.
nightmare to go back and undo all of
Well,
this.
yeah, the judge call did happen once.
Yeah,
When it was going from like I think 1 to 2. And basically I said pass turn, and the opponent drew the card. I was like, oh wait, put it in. I mean the counter, right?
yeah,
And basically what they said is I did miss it because it was on the end step, and the opponent, since nothing happened since that point, the opponent can agree to putting it back on the stack, but obviously the opponent would never agree to that. So
yeah.
yeah,
Interesting, interesting. I, I don't know if I am totally on board with that judge call. Again, judge call is a judge call, but it's
yeah.
not. Yeah, it's not an optional trigger. So if you're doing it that quickly, I think yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Judge made the wrong call there. But Magic's a hard game. Magic is a
Yeah,
hard and complicated game.
I mean, it was interesting. Like one of the things, I had a huge rogue deck advantage. Like on
Yeah,
Arena, I feel a lot of people know what I'm playing because I play on it so much. But like in paper, no one knew what I was playing. Like I play Firebluff Canal, they would assume Otters. If I just played a Mountain, they would assume aggro.
mm-hmm.
And they would just get confused. There's a lot of breeding of Brass's Tunnel Grinder. I don't think a lot of people have seen that card. A lot of checking
Yeah,
what the flip side does, which I mean, it was kind of fun to like be that unique deck. And I did get like um, yeah, a lot of people complimenting the deck because they just never seen it before.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
sweet.
another thing is, yeah, like a lot of people were having rules questions about Season of Weaving targeting what the dragon.
Yeah,
It doesn't target, so I had to explain that a few times. There were a few judge calls on that. There was also like bringing back a room from the graveyard and whether it came in locked or unlocked. Um, the judge was called on that, and the initial judge made the wrong call. They said it would enter with both rooms locked, and then I told them it wouldn't like, and then they called another judge, and yeah, they fixed that. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's an interesting one actually. So let me get the deck up real quick because there are some interesting points there. So for one, Season of Weaving Mode 2 does not target the dragon. It's just choose a creature, create a token that's a copy of it. Where does that come up? Where is that relevant?
one thing is if you have like two Hellraisers on the battlefield and they only have one spot removal, they cannot stop you from comboing. So that
Because you
is
can
really
choose.
useful.
Why is that? Because
Yeah.
you choose each dragon, so you choose 2 different targets.
Well, you choose on resolution. So when the spell
Right.
resolves,
Okay.
you choose. So they actually don't have a chance to target the one you choose.
I didn't
Um,
know
another
that.
one is another one is like if you have a Capricious Hellraiser and a Brass's Tunnel Grinder, you can actually confidently just go for like two choose an artifacts and one draw card because you can always just copy the Brass's Tunnel Grinder, and that's
Hmm.
still like really good value.
That
So
is
yeah,
interesting.
I
Yeah,
did that
I didn't
a
even
few
know
times.
that, but that does make sense. Um, and then we were talking about Roaring Furnace, Steaming Sauna. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't even thought about it, but I can absolutely see if somebody casts this without paying its mana cost in paper, I could see why you might assume that it would just enter with both sides locked.
Yeah.
That's
But
such
you
a
choose
weird
to
rule.
just one side.
Yeah. Oh, how interesting. Yeah. Oh, Magic's a tough game. Anyway, so I've been playing around with the list a little bit, and I do want to check in with you and maybe reset the list back to whatever you are currently playing or what you think is best. I've made very minor changes. I am trying out Horned Lockwhale over the two unsummons, and I know there has been quite a bit of a heated debate about this in the Discord. And I know you favor the unsummoned. So for me, I am still testing it, but Lagoon Breach feels like a time walk in some situations. Like when you can take a bad creature or like a cheap creature, put it on, back on your opponent's, like back on top, deny them a draw, and then they basically just have to do the same thing again. It can feel really good. Of course, big downside being this can't target your dragons. It costs one more. I think that the 6/6 body is super relevant. That has been useful for me in closing out a game, especially like given that you need 5 dragons for a surprise lethal swing. But let's say you play a dragon with Terkutlan mana and you hit a Horned Lockwhale and you have Bitter Reunion on the battlefield, you could copy the whale twice, and that puts 18 power onto the board plus the dragon. And if you give them all haste, you can you can kind of represent a lethal threat a little with only one season of weaving, and that has been relevant for me in games that I played. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the first thing is like I wouldn't say Lagoon Breach is a time walk, because if the opponent thinks it's a bad card to put it back on top of their library, they just put it on the bottom. So then at that point, it's just a removal spell. And 2-mana removal spell is like good, but nothing like amazing. It's just like a normal card. I mean, Hornlock Whale was a consideration because like it's close to being good. Like some people, some people like it a lot. I did like it, but like over the weekend, my biggest issue with it was I was running into specifically a lot of Gruul Innkeepers and Boros Sporas. So the biggest problem there is they have protection spells, and like when you have and like Innkeeper's Talent, right? It puts a counter at the beginning of combat, and if it has ward, you have to pay the ward cost with Lagoon Breach. You don't have a choice. So it made it worse in that specific situation. Also, like, if they just have a Shard Mage's Rescue, I'm stuck here with my 2-mana removal spells, and I can't cast like 2 spells on turn 3 sometimes. Also, like once I just got turboed out by Heartfire Hero on turn 1. I played a top land, and then on turn 2 they just played a Sheltered by Ghost on it, and I could not kill it until like turn 4 because I had all these 2-mana removal spells in my hand. Like I think it's like Lagoon Breach is not a good removal spell. It's like so the body really has to make up for it, and the body is really good. That's true. But yeah, it's just an option of whether like a 1-mana removal spell is just better in
Yeah.
that situation.
And you're still on team unsummon.
Yeah.
All right, let's put unsummon back in the list. We're already on 3 steps ahead. Still a card you play?
This weekend I played against a ton of aggro. I guess there's a lot of good Magic players, or I think in paper, a lot of people just default to aggro if they don't know the meta.
Yeah.
Like
The stakes are higher. Like especially, I know it's hard to like craft a deck in Arena, but ultimately your wild cards are not as valuable as your actual money. And so if you're buying a paper deck, often if people aren't super familiar with the format, they will just buy the cheapest deck with the cheapest lands. This is the quintessential Magic experience, right? Like you start off with mono red aggro until you can afford a deck with a lower win rate.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like if you're good at Magic, it doesn't matter if you're playing like aggro, there's still a high skill ceiling on aggro.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
choosing when
Mhm.
to interact with things and stuff. So like even if you don't know the meta, you can still just have a very high win rate playing aggro in paper, I think.
Yeah.
And I did come across some really good aggro players. I also came across some really bad aggro players. So yeah, that was really interesting to me. I went back to Cura actually
Yeah, you did.
because in paper, right? Like people saw zero creatures game one often. Like so they removed all their removal spells.
Hmm.
And Kira really did win me a few games there. And they're like I played against yeah, Kira just seemed decent
Hmm.
overall this weekend for me. So I did
Yeah,
cut the three
okay.
steps ahead.
So what are you playing on the ladder right now? I guess the question
Ladder,
is, do you want to make any changes to this list before we jump into some games?
yeah, I think you can swap out the three steps ahead for the Kiora. I
Okay.
think it's a fine choice. And I was also, instead of the second Lithomantic Barrage, I was testing Nahiri's Warcrafting.
Interesting. Yeah, so I cut a Tishana's Tidebinder. For the
Yeah,
same reason that I don't love counter spells in this deck. I haven't
yeah,
loved Tidebinder because I find it really difficult to hold it up when you have Bitter Reunion, Brass's Tunnel Grinder.
yeah.
Um, so I cut a Tidebinder and put in a second Lithomantic Barrage. And I also cut something else and put in the 3 Jaces because I do really like the
Yeah.
Jace plan, games 2 and 3.
So I did cut Tishana's completely. Um,
I can see
it
that,
has
yeah.
its main use is the domain matchup. It is really good in the domain matchup for sure. Um, I was just testing the Heroes Warcrafting. You don't have to craft it if you don't want to. But yeah,
There
like
are a
Tishana's,
few like 5 damage spells that I've been thinking about because Sheoldred is really tough to deal with, I'm finding.
yeah, um, yeah. Usually against Golgari, I just unsummon or kill it with ill-timed if I have to.
Yeah.
And Golgari matchup is good anyway, but if they play it in Dimir as like a surprise play, it can get awkward. And Nahir's Warcrafting does also hit Planeswalkers, so that's what I was looking at it for, and has like a little bit of additional upside. Not too relevant, but
There were some yeah, so I know some people like you've tested Betrayer's Bargain before, right?
yeah. Um, I did like it quite a bit until the demon deck started becoming big and people started playing 6 toughness creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And but it's still really good against like Oculus and stuff like that because it also exiles.
What's the advantage of like so I can see the advantage of warcrafting over say Annihilation, Rebel Salvo. I guess the difference being this is a sorcery, which I guess is not too much of a nerf in the Izzet Hellraiser list. But does the excess damage is that relevant? Does that come up? Is it this much better than like Rebel Salvo or Fiery Annihilation?
Um, I don't think it comes up too often,
Mm-hmm.
although like having instant speed removal, I don't think is like how often are you holding up 3 mana kill spell?
Yeah.
Also, Kaido has hexproof on their turn.
Yeah.
So I think it being sorcerer instant isn't too big of an advantage, although it is something really nice to have. And maybe the additional upside, I haven't tested the card too much, so I can't really say for sure about the exile the one card, but it may come up. So yeah, that's the reason for testing, but I haven't been able to test it yet, so can't say for sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, what change do you want to make? Do you want? So, I don't mind crafting the wall crafting. Do you want to put that in the sideboard instead of a lithomantic?
Yeah, and you could also just cut the or instead you could just cut the Tishana's.
Okay. So, cut the Tishanas. Oh, whoops. Um, I'm in craft. That's why. All right. Let's pop you in the sideboard. Cut the Tishanas, which I can see, like, because part of the reason why I like Tishanas in the sideboard is sometimes it can just come down and like you said, start pressuring fairly early, because there's so few creatures in the deck that people side out all of their removal and stuff. But if we have Kiora in the main deck, then that, well, Kiora kind of ticks that box. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other changes that you would make for the arena ladder right now?
I think I'm happy with this for now.
Okay. All right. Let's do it. So
arena ladder in a little bit, but yeah.
Warcrafting, and this comes in against Kaito, against Sheoldred. What other matchups are you bringing Warcrafting in for?
Oculus, probably.
Yeah, Oculus. Okay. Yeah, I see. Okay, sweet.
I think it could also work in like against aggro. It's just a removal spell.
Yeah. All right, let's craft this. Wait, what do I need to do? Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown of my experience so far. After our last coaching session, my win rate has improved significantly. I was over very few games, but I was at like a 40% win rate with this deck. I have dragged that up to an overall nearly 50% win rate, because my win rate for the last, like since our last coaching session, has been around 60%, which is really nice. However, I am in Platinum Hell. I cannot get out of Platinum 4, and I'm having a really gross time, just like winning a couple games, losing a couple games. So I'm in what I think, I think can be accurately described as Platinum Hell. So I need your help getting out of Platinum Hell. Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can do this with me, Nithin?
I think, yeah. Let's try it.
I know you have what it takes to rank up to high mythic with this deck, but do you have what it takes to get someone else there? That's the question.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful for sure. I think we can do it.
So, oh, by the way, is the game sound coming through okay? Let me know, guys who are listening, if Nithin sounds good, if the game sound is all good. It's hard to find the right balance. So do let me know. Sam says he's been playing Little Beep's Lunar Pact list. So Sam, I have crafted this deck. I haven't played it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know if you've seen this, Nithin, but Little Beep, his name's Aaron Gertler. He's one of my favorite deck brewers of all time. I absolutely love everything he does. And he's crafted a new deck, which he's calling Lunar Pact. Revolves around Lunar Insight and Demonic Pact. And it's super cool. It's super cool. So I do want to give that a try on a future stream. This is a mulligan. I would mulligan this.
I would.
This is a keep, and I think I want to put the Hellraiser away. Yeah, I think I'm putting the Hellraiser away.
Yeah, I would do that as well. For sure.
Okay, so we are up against probably Dimir or Esper Bounce.
Yeah.
Yep, there's the Fear of Isolation. So this ill-timed explosion is going to be important. I'm just going to Moment of Truth. Unsummon is pretty awful in this matchup.
Well, it's a one-mana removal spell for the Otter.
Yes, yeah. Oh, that's gross.
Watch closely. Don't worry,
Yeah, so turn 3 Kaito is one of the hardest things to beat for me. I've had a really tough time against it. What is our plan here? Are we going to Brass's Tunnel Grinder or Kiora? I think I'm just going to Tunnel Grinder next turn. I'm going to Moment of Truth now. Does Torch help at all? I'm probably just gonna Tunnel Grinder and try and find fires for the Kaito next turn.
I think, yeah, you just grab this fire bluff here.
Yeah.
And
Torch go in the graveyard. There's a fires. So that does change things. Is this now Spire Bluff and fires and hold up on summon?
yeah, it's just kill Kaito for sure. You don't want Kaito to get more value. And they do run out of resources. They don't have this sort of card advantage.
Don't worry. I've got an exit strategy.
Okay, so not going to bounce this Otter here because we have Ill-Timed Explosion coming up. But the question is, do I take a turn to Tunnel Grinder or do I Ill-Timed Explosion?
I think I would ill-timed explosion. Just to reduce the pressure they're putting on you.
Yeah. Yeah, this, like, right now they've got no Hopeless Nightmare loop going on, and once they do, it's just so gross, right?
Yeah, it's really interesting. They're holding up 2 mana. I'm guessing they either just have removal spells in hand, or because their deck has a very low curve. There's no reason for them to hold up 2 mana.
Yeah.
Right? They're not looking to make a play on turn 4 or something. So either they have a flash creature, which I don't think the deck runs, or they just have.
I don't think this deck. No, I've not seen this deck run Flash Creature's main board. I've seen them run Spell Stutter. More often they run the 2 blue pit counter or bounce spell, like Get Out or whatever it's called. So, are we worried about a Spell Stutter? What would you do in this spot? I think I would probably still go for the ill-timed.
Yeah, I think ill-timed is correct here. Or they might have
It's this town ain't big enough.
Yeah. So here
Okay.
you could honestly just draw 2 cards and not discard. That is an option.
Yeah, I mean, we've just played a land. They're going to have a... Yeah. Do we do that?
I think... Yeah, I think it might be worth.
Or is it worth getting 2 cards in the graveyard for Kiora?
Well,
No, we
Kira's
have
not
Tunnel
gonna
Grinder in
attack
hand,
early.
right?
Yeah, I think you don't discard.
Yeah. So yeah, because next
Well,
turn
we
we have
should-
Unsummon and Tunnel Grinder at least to find the tools we need to make it through the rest of this match.
Yeah, I don't I can't believe I forgot about what's it called?
Yeah, this town ain't big enough. Right, it's what makes this deck so hard to play against. Okay, Season of Weaving. So I'm just gonna Tunnel Grinder. What am I looking for? Tunnel Grinder and looking for some removal. Maybe I keep the Unsummon in hand.
I think you have to keep the unsummon. The pressure is really, really high right now. They could just kill you next turn.
Yeah,
I would not play the land. I would dump everything but the unsummon.
Yeah.
Hit a torch.
And the worst thing about this deck is if we can answer all of the creatures, they can still Hopeless Nightmare us to death. That is not a good draw. Not what we want to see. I'm just going to play out this tap land. Do you know what? I might play the... Yeah, I'm going to play the Cavern for future, because we might just chuck all of these cards away with this next Tunnel Grinder. And I do want the Cavern down.
Just kill you here if they play a ton of spells.
If they...
Just
Well, they can't loop back this town ain't big enough just yet. Yeah, but they only need 2 non-creature spells and we are, well, not dead because we have the Unsummon. Hi, Ryan. Yeah, okay, so they get back their bounce spell. I think I have to Unsummon an Otter here.
Yeah, for sure.
Or can I, do I unsummon the 2/3? They can't really cast it this
I
turn.
Well, it gives them extra cast on Storm Chasers next. Have
Yeah.
the mana to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
If you don't find the Board Wipe, you're gonna die to
I don't
You're
have
good.
any board wipes that hit here though.
That's true.
Do
You
I just
could,
have to re-roll and maybe try and hit a dragon, and then try and hit ill-timed explosion?
Yeah, that could be the call. I think, yeah, you might want to keep a Fabled Passage for the 6th red source. Or
Yeah.
for the 6th lamp.
Well, yeah, I see.
So that you could, if you can get a dragon, cast it.
Okay.
I don't think Roaring Furnace is going to help win, because if they have two non-creature spells, you're dead.
So just spin all of these. There's an ill-timed explosion and a Hellraiser. Tricky. Okay, so I'll just play the Mountain and Hellraiser and hope to hit.
Yep, that's I think your choice. If they can bounce the Hellraiser with discounting big enough, so you do have to hit.
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I think you have to kill. Oh, I think you're dead.
Well, they have this town. They bounce. They play. Yeah, we are just dead, right? Even if I take out the Fear of Isolation.
Let's just hope the opponent misplays. And I would definitely sacrifice the Commander, yeah.
Yeah.
Not doing anything right now.
Yeah, but all they have to do is... I don't think it matters. Yeah, all they have to do is play this for 2, bounce their Storm Chaser's talent, bounce my dragon, replay the Storm Chaser's talent, and they have lethal. They're swinging for 6.
Yeah. Or they have... that's an interesting... Do they just have double Nightmare?
They can still... Yeah, they can still do it. They still have the mana to do it all. Okay. So this is Dimir bounce. And they are playing Kaito. Well, they're usually playing, what, like 2 or 3 Kaito, not the full set. I don't know if they play Enduring Curiosity. But what is the plan against this deck? Because this is less aggressive than the Pixie deck. Orion, I'm trying to stream here. Do you mind? So what's the plan,
Yeah,
Nithin?
so Lithomantic Barrage for sure, I think. It hits pretty much every creature they have.
Yeah, Pyroclasm and Brotherhood's End I would bring in.
I'm not sure about Pyroclasm because like they could just it doesn't hit the Fear of Isolation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They don't have many other like low toughness creature other than the otters.
Yeah. What about Dragonfire and Warcrafting? Would you bring Warcrafting in?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to test Warcrafting here.
Okay.
I think Warcrafting in Kaito is useful.
And what are we cutting? I'd probably look at trimming a season, cutting the Flame Shaper, and then Elder Dragon War I'd probably cut.
Yeah.
And the 2 unsummons I don't really like.
Yeah, so I think cutting the unsummon makes sense. Because you're not really using it to save Hellraiser, because they can't really kill it anyway.
Yeah.
Typically, I think you would cut like a Chandra Flame Shaper probably.
Yeah. Want to cut a season because hard casting this isn't good against them. And usually like hitting 1 in the graveyard is enough. So I don't really feel like we need 3 seasons. What do you think? Yeah. And then I think Elder Dragon will go.
I think actually I've been thinking about cutting a Tunnel Grinder in this matchup, just because
I can see that. Yeah.
I've been playing against it like a lot of Jace loops, Hopeless Nightmare loops, where they keep casting Hopeless Nightmare and your hand size gets smaller, which makes
Tunnel Grinder really awkward. Yeah. Same with fires.
works.
Yeah. Okay, Orion, I can't actually see the screen if you sit there. This is a keepable hand.
Yeah, this is a good hand, I'd say.
I can't see my hand if you sit there though, Ori. I'm gonna move you, I'm sorry. Come on. I know you like being on screen, but... Okay, where were we? Right, Thundering Falls. I'm gonna bottom that.
Yep.
Start filling the graveyard. I'm probably just gonna Roaring Furnace this 1-1.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
Yeah, we can take turn 3. We can play a tap land on turn 3 with this hand, no problem. So let's just keep the pressure off. And as you say, they do, like, well, they're really good at... Like, this deck has quite a bit of reach. I think the blue-black version has tons of late-game potential because there's so much recursion.
I can see you're just firing off the fires here. You already have more anti-Kaito with a Mantic.
At sorcery
and you
speed?
might want to use... yeah.
Just to stop Kaito.
Well, you could fire it off on their turn. I don't think it's that different.
Yeah.
And you might just save Ill-Timed Explosion to draw 2. They're punching your hand, or you're looking for something to do. Yeah, like here, I think I would just cast Ill-Timed to draw 2.
Yeah, okay. So I'll go fetch up a mountain.
And you've drawn another sweeper, so you're not worried about that. And potentially next turn, if they don't do anything, you can just activate Steaming Sauna.
Well, they've missed a land drop, so yeah, we have a bit of a window here. This deck runs really well with like 3 lands, but still, love to see them missing land drops. So this is probably Brotherhood's End worthy. Is it better to open the sauna or just keep the pressure off?
This is definitely a choice. I think you could potentially just open the sauna. They are falling behind.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, they have Hopeless Nightmare, and they're going to have us discard a bunch of stuff, so I do like making it harder for them to attack our hand. And the Brotherhood's End is looking real nice now.
Yeah, it's just clean up now. Oh, and that's a good draw as well.
Yeah, so we can go Mountain, Tunnel Grinder, and keep the Lithomantic Barrage.
Yeah, keep the Lithomantic Barrage. You want to stop... Kaito is probably their only way back into this game. And even Kaito, honestly, with them on 2 lands, I don't even know if it's correct to keep Lithomantic Barrage because Kaito's not coming down anytime soon.
That's true. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they gave it up. Okay, so we beat him on 2 lands. On the draw, any changes to the sideboard?
I don't think so. I think this looks fine.
Yeah. Okay, let's run it back. What was so much value for them, Sam? Was that in game 1? Okay, on the draw. I don't think I keep this, right? Is it greedy to keep this?
It is greedy to keep it.
I'd probably keep this on the draw, and but I don't know if that's right. What would you?
I mean, sometimes I do, if I'm being honest, but
I'm gonna keep this. I think I would keep this on the draw. If it really mattered, if I was in a tournament or something, I don't know, but the upside is high enough if we just draw any land that I can see keeping this. So I'm going to discard this season.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I was in any high stakes, I would never keep this hand.
Guys, we're going to get there. We have one more draw. We have Torch the Tower in hand. Well, Torch the Tower is not looking very good right now, but... Okay, that's kind of... That's not great, but
Okay.
that's not nothing.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
I think
So there's-
as a host, I should not be advising you to keep this hand. But
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, so I kind of feel like either Moment of Truth or Bitter. I think probably Moment of Truth or Hellraiser would be what I discard here, because against the discard synergy that they have,
yeah, I think you should get
Hellraiser
rid of
just doesn't get there.
Hellraiser now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're worried about Kaito, right?
Yeah.
Torch has some play for killing the spear.
Well, they're not doing much else, and since they don't have Storm Chaser's talent in hand, and they may not have another Fear of Isolation, I think we have to be ready for a Kaito.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Okay, there's a Thundering Falls, and we can hold up Moment of Truth. Yeah, I'm keeping that land. Or do I just Bitter Reunion here? I can see Bitter Reunion here, but then what am I discarding?
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's just better to Moment of Truth.
Yeah,
I think
okay.
it is I think it is better to Moment of Truth. You don't have anything you really want to get rid of right now. I'm not sure if I would have kept the land. I think it's fine.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. Okay, right, taking 2. So you wouldn't have kept the land just because you're thinking we're going to find more?
Yeah, you're about to Moment of Truth, and
Yeah.
typically you can find a land anyway, and you're filling your graveyard. Okay, so the land is decent because you get to kill 2 fears. Oh, well, they probably have
A counter spell, yeah, because they did not replay their Hopeless Nightmare, so they're almost certainly holding up a counter spell. Do I Moment of Truth here? Or do I fire as one of these things?
Oh, that's an interesting option.
And then on my turn, Bitter Reunion. If
And
I...
hold up Torch.
Yeah, and hold up Torch, yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, the way they're playing suggests they don't have Kaito.
So if we fire as
I
one of
can see
these,
that.
we draw this mountain, we Bitter Reunion, we ditch the... I'm not sure, but then we hold up Torch Tower for the other one. I feel okay
Yeah,
about
they're
that.
clearly playing with, yeah, I think they're clearly playing for this count ain't big enough. So I think trying to go for one and then going for the other makes this count ain't big enough look really bad.
Yeah. Okay.
If they do have Kaito, this could be a bad thing.
Plus, I like getting the fires used. When they've got Hopeless Nightmare early, fires just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will Bitter Reunion here. I don't know what to discard. Probably Ill-Timed Explosion, because I can hold up Torch and Moment of Truth. Do you think we need to keep the Ill-Timed Explosion? I think it's gonna... There's the negate. So now we just Mountain and Moment of Truth.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I Moment of Truth now and find something to just pitch?
Yeah, if you find something better, you want to look at your options, right?
Yeah.
You might draw something better, you might not. I think you take the Hellraiser.
Do you think Hellraiser goes in hand?
Yeah. Now I think your graveyard is
We have 5 in the graveyard, we're about to have 6. 7. We can't cast Hellraiser yet.
You're gonna have 8 soon. The other spells don't look too appealing to me right now. I think I would take the Hellraiser.
Okay, interesting. Let's remember that that decision point. I'll put Brotherhood's End in the graveyard. Be a better hit than Brass's Tunnel Grinder right now.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, let's come back to that decision, because I don't think I ever would have chosen Hellraiser there. Discarding Torch. Not looking great here.
Yeah, I think Torch goes. If they make you discard one more card, you have Hellraiser. I believe they're gonna mess? No?
Okay, so is this just ill-timed explosion? Or is this Torch the Fear of Isolation and play a dragon?
I think you go for the ill-timed explosion.
I think I'm kind of getting and reading on another counter. Yeah, there's a negate. So that's fine. We're still not dead, and next turn we can dragon and torch. They don't seem to have actually that much action. They've used 2 negates. Not a great spot to be in, because any bounce spell means that they might Hopeless Nightmare us out, but... There's the Kaito. That's pretty frustrating.
Impressed. The housewarming party has arrived. Your secrets didn't stay here.
So what's my plan here? Is it Brotherhood's End would be nice, plus the torch in hand. Otherwise, hit a Bitter Reunion, or a Season, but Bitter Reunion and haste Dragon into the Kaito. But Brotherhood's End would be nice here. That would clear the board.
Yeah.
There's fires as well. So should I just go for the Hellraiser?
Yeah, you just have to go for the Hellraiser here. It's a pretty desperate situation. If you hit the season, you win. If you don't, it's gonna be tricky.
Okay, so Brotherhood's End does clean up the board. Right, it kills everything. We can torch the Kaito. So I want to go for Brotherhood's End here.
Yeah, it's still a bad position because they have the Hopeless Nightmare in hand.
Yeah.
Bounce spell just kills you.
Yeah. Okay. Any other options? Bitter Reunion or something? Doesn't seem very good.
Yeah, you just have to go for the...
Yeah, so we're just going to have to hope we get there. And hope they brick for a turn, and we... I don't know. I don't really know. Because Fires of Victory is not good in hand right now. Okay, still. Fires was pretty useless there. Dragon that we cannot cast.
Why would they not just Hopeless Nightmare there? That was a...
yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they didn't want it countered.
Well, they're saving the Hopeless Knight for next. Well, that's really good for them that you drew the Hellraiser
Yeah,
there.
I mean, that was a super heads-up play that they...
Just in time to save the day. Never.
Okay, interesting choice. I'm just going to play out the land, and... I guess I have to just hit... Oh, I'm just dead? Yeah, I'm just dead.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah. Gross. Yeah, okay, tough. Kaito's tough, but do you know what? Game 1, turn 3 Kaito is really tough to beat.
Yeah, this deck is, I think, a worse matchup than Esper Pixie for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I did lose to this at the in Atlanta once. Yeah, the matchup is tough just because they have like the burn. They also have these creatures that are fairly resilient, and they don't have too many of them, so the board wipes don't feel too great. But at the same time, you kind of have to board wipe.
Yeah, all of our board wipes there hit maybe a couple of Otter tokens and a Fear of Isolation, and it's like a barely a 2-for-1.
Yeah,
Well, it's not really. It's like a 1.5-for-1. Yeah, okay, tough matchup.
our kill spells being based on cards in hand, that fires did look pretty terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I've sided out fires in those matchups. Like Roaring Furnace is a little bit nicer because it's still a permanent for Torch. But fires can just feel so bad. I can see this being a keep, but it is right on the verge of keepable for me. I think this is really close to a mulligan.
I think I would keep this hand. Any, it's close, yeah, but if you get to 4 lands, you can ill-timed explosion. You have an early kill spell. There's a lot of good draws in the deck for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, like Tunnel Grinder off the top would be super, super good. But we did say in the last coaching session that we wanted to practice the Demir matchup, or at least I did. And we did. It is tough. We should have gone back to that point in that last game where you chose the dragon off of the Moment of Truth. Let's do that after this next game. So game 1, there was that Moment of Truth decision where, yeah, I don't think I would have chosen the dragon. So I do want to talk about that a little bit more. Let's remember to do that after this game. Chat, remind us, please.
Yeah, cool.
/ Nithin, remember. Absolute veteran, our opponent over here, got the name Andrew on MTG Arena. Must have been like the 5th person to sign up.
Are they tanking?
However, Andrew does not seem to have a very good internet connection. So while Andrew is timing out,
yeah, we could talk about that.
yeah, let's talk about that. Yeah, I'll try and keep track of if Andrew actually does anything. Oh no, is it my internet connection? I don't think it is. You guys can hear me.
Yeah. I don't think it can be yours.
Right, okay. Well, we've made our play. Lethal Mountain. Come on, 17 lands, let's get there. Okay, well, while we're waiting for something to happen on screen here, yeah, so I don't know if you can recall, but we had 4 lands in play.
Yeah.
We had 6 cards in the graveyard or something. So because we didn't have 9, and so I think you did the math and figured out that we would have 9 cards in the graveyard very soon, basically. And so you took the dragon knowing it would be castable. But yeah, in that moment, I guess I just kind of saw 5 cards in graveyard, we're about to discard 2. If we cast another spell, we go up to 8 cards in graveyard. That's still not enough to cast a dragon. So if I just have the dragon in hand and I can't cast it, then that's just nothing. That's just dead.
Yeah. So I can tell you what I was thinking. So I think you were at like around 5, and it was a Hopeless Nightmare coming down, and so you Moment of Truth. So after the Moment of Truth, you're at 7. After the Hopeless Nightmare discard, you're at 8. So if you cast the 1 mana spell in your hand,
Yeah.
or somehow got another card in the graveyard, you would be able to dragon. And the reason I took dragon over the other cards is like you need to find a way to win, and dragon wins you the game. If you just take these interaction spells, you're just gonna get slowly drained out. So I think taking the dragon there is the way you win. Like whenever you're in any position, you should look at how I win, how I lose, and dragon is the way you win there. And You were close enough that I think it was not going to be a dead card, and I think it is correct to go for it and take the dragon.
So we can't see in 17 lands. I guess we could check Untapped as well, but we can't see what we hit off of the Moment of Truth. We can see that we took the dragon, but that is very sound logic. That other stuff might have been castable and might have solved an immediate problem, but we are kind of on the back foot and we have to just sort of go full kilter for a win in that spot.
Yeah, like I think it was a Brotherhood's End and a Torch to the Tower. You put the Torch to the Tower on the bottom and Brotherhood's End in the green. Brotherhood's End would have solved the on-board problem, but you still need to find spells to win the game. And also, you already had the ill-timed explosion. I didn't know if the Kaido was coming down.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that situation, I was like, okay, you already have another board wipe. Instead of doubling down with Brotherhood's End,
okay.
The dragon would be better there.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying there. Because I was not. I didn't see the logic in the moment, but that does sound good. That does make sense. Okay, this is a keep.
Yeah, that looks good.
And I'll keep a card draw spell. So I would probably keep the Moment of Truth here. Would you keep?
I think keeping Moment of Truth makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say I'll bottom pretty much anything in the early surveils with this deck, but with this hand, Bitter Reunion or a Tunnel Grinder or Moment of Truth, I was planning to keep. Novice Inspector. So I would love to get this Moment of Truth cast, but of course we'll leave our options open. Novice Inspector's barely a threat, and we can clean it up with Elder Dragon War later. Oh, this is the Jeskai Convoke deck that isn't Convoke. Yep. Okay, Gleeful Demolition. Is there any logic to killing something now to stop them from convoking? I can't remember.
There is, because Knight Errant of Eos is, I believe, 5 mana. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures, and they have the 1 mana Novice Inspector for Convoke.
Yeah.
So I do, so they could high roll, and it could be really bad for you. So yeah, maybe it is. I think it is correct to kill here.
Okay, Torch the Inspector. Yeah, so that comes down to card knowledge. I couldn't remember what Knight Errant of Eos's mana cost was. I think I need to Moment of Truth and find a land here.
Yeah.
There's a Sheevan Reef. Painful, but it will do. Season of Weaving in the graveyard. Ill-timed back in the bin. We have Unsummoned. Do we cast it so they don't just go for Knight Errant of Eos straight away? I mean, they could still just land a Knight Errant, right?
Yeah. I don't think you should, because you want to save the Knight Errant. You want to save the Unsummons probably to unsummon the Knight Errant and prevent that damage.
Yeah.
Instead, these Goblin tokens probably, if you're lucky, will die to the Elder Dragon War next turn.
Yeah. Okay, no Knight Errant this turn. Pace of the Gateway Express. So that is solved already.
Yeah, so you're in a good position if the Elder Dragon War can come down next turn.
Should I just fire off an unsummon now?
No, because you have the Elder Dragon War. Hopefully.
That's fine. We do have fires plus unsummon, so it's not that bad right now.
Yeah, it's not terrible. But if that was an untapped land, you would have been winning the game.
Yeah.
Pretty much on the spot.
Am I mitigating this damage? I think I can take 6 here.
Yeah, you can take 6. They don't run counter spells in the main deck, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I have very little experience against this deck.
The only thing is they could flash in the 2/1/1s.
Okay, well, we still have
yeah.
Unsummon
Unsummon.
at our disposal.
Yeah, like Unsummon here isn't ideal, but you wouldn't be able to cast a whale.
Wouldn't be able to cast a whale, I'll give you that. There's the Resolute reinforcements.
Yeah, I did. I think we did see this coming. They're holding up 4 mana.
There's the Recruiter. So this is currently dealing, what, 6, 7, 9 with haste?
Yeah, you have the token, I think.
Yeah, bounce the token.
Not a good idea to bounce Imodane because it'll
Yeah.
just come back down and fuck with him again.
So do I need to keep the... I think I need to discard both of these cards. Am I discarding either of these? I probably wouldn't. Or maybe I discard the Unsummon.
I think you discard the Unsummon.
Keep the Fires.
Yeah.
Or do I just need to go all in on finding an ill-timed explosion or something?
I think you keep the fires. They don't have you dead on board next turn. If you keep the fires, so you get an extra turn. You get a dragon.
Oh, that's
soon.
pretty good. So we can Roaring Furnace, hit the Imodanes. I think I have to hold back the land so that Fires at least deals 2. Is that relevant?
I don't think. So for 2, right? What would you be killing? Imodane's Recruiter instead.
Yeah.
They have another one.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
In that case, it might be, yeah. I think you can justify keeping a land because you're on 6 mana next turn anyway, even if you do keep a land.
Yeah,
So most
okay.
of your spells are keepable.
Okay. If we untap and we get our 4/4, I will feel significantly better. Yeah, there's a Recruiter. They have it. So, am I supposed to take out this reinforcements, create a 4/4, and hope from there?
Yeah, you have to draw something good. So I would just kill the reinforcements here. Because that's just representing more damage next turn. If you do find a border wipe, then you can kill the 2 knights and you won't die. That's
So,
not good.
This is
I would play the
bad,
mountain.
but if I go mountain, unlock...
And draw
Ooh.
torch. Exactly.
Yeah, and draw torch, then it's like not over.
Oh, watch out. Yeah. Almost got defeated by auto tapper.
Yep. Nearly, but they didn't get us this time. Still, yeah, three lands in a row there is gonna wrap up this game if the opponent has the balls to go for it, which they should. There's no reason they don't just slam the Imodanes here. Yep, GG's.
Yeah, I did have land problems this game. It's tough, for sure.
Yes, okay, so what I want to do is, I think Pyroclasm is good here, I think Brotherhood's End is good here. I'm not actually that sure about the spot removal.
Yeah.
Against
I
this
can see
deck.
like a Mantic Barrage.
Yeah, okay.
Potentially. I don't think you bring in Nahiri's or Scorching Dragonfire.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I can see that.
Um,
Yeah, the Lithomantic Barrage pretty much hit. Well, it doesn't hit a Recruiter, but yeah, it hits enough stuff. I would be looking to cut a Season, cut a Flame Shaper, cut Kiora, I don't know what I would do next. So I'll tell you what I would do, which I don't think you will like, but I would cut a tunnel grinder and a reunion, or maybe 2 tunnel grinders. And if I were on the draw, if I were on the draw, I would definitely cut 2 tunnel grinders. But yeah, so I'd probably cut a reunion and a tunnel grinder here, because the haste isn't so relevant because we go way over the top. We don't need to like haste combo to win. And the tunnel grinder, I just like casting it on 3 against this deck is too dangerous. What would you cut?
Well, here's the thing. Like Bitter Union Tunnel Grinder, they get you to your board wipes. Your board wipes win you the game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I would cut those. I would actually just cut like bot removal.
Like the 2 fires?
I wouldn't be so keen on cutting my payoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I might cut like the fires.
Okay.
Probably.
Would you bring in Season and Chandra and cut the 2 furnaces?
I can see bringing in the season. You can cut the Chandra and that's fine, I think. And
Okay.
I cut the unsummons as well.
Okay, unsummons game 3 can be cut. But yes, yeah, I suppose this isn't a great matchup for them.
Yeah, this is if they don't have the protected negotiators, and you have a lot of board wipes, so
I think this is a keep. Not great, but
yeah, this is a hand that isn't great against them, but I would keep this.
yeah, I got to keep that, right?
Yeah, and I think
On the play, it's
should-
pretty good, and if it gets us a new hand,
your 4-mana board wipes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Okay, so I'll just torch this now, because that's a problem card.
First,
Oh, is it worth waiting for any reason?
sure.
No, I'm just gonna, just in case,
Just to give them less information.
yeah. Well, yeah, which does make sense. But I don't know what they sideboard in, and I don't want them to be able to save this because it's just brutal.
Yeah, fair enough. If they do use protected negotiators to save the warden, I think that would be a win situation, and I don't even think they can. Other than that, they're probably not bringing in what?
Is Demolition Field relevant in this matchup?
I don't think so. They
Okay.
have like
Is Cavern of Souls relevant? I think I'd probably keep the Cavern.
well, at this point, since you've already played your 3rd land drop, I wouldn't.
You got it.
You just want to dig for more cards. Maybe I would have actually played the Cavern instead of the Spybluff Canal as my 3rd land drop.
Makes sense. Yeah. So, well, they're certainly slower than they were last game.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I can see this just being Tunnel Grinder and bin everything but the Elder Dragon War. Maybe keep the Lithomantic as well.
I think there is also an argument to just go Elder Dragon War here. Get it ticking.
What? Just get it ticking.
On the board. If they counter it, is it bad if they counter it? Not really, because. Well, I guess okay. So right now they're representing either counterspell or they're representing the
Resolute
2-mana
Reinforcements.
1/1.
Yeah.
Yeah, resolute. So
Neither is that much of a problem, really. I feel like now's the time to dig, because they're not putting too much pressure on.
okay. Yeah, I can see Tunnel Grinder and keep just the Elder Dragon one.
Okay. Cool, there's the counter spell. There's a knight errant. So an untapped land would allow me to wipe away all of this. That's what I'm hoping for. Otherwise, I still think Elder Dragon War is good enough.
Yeah.
To, well... Yeah, Warden is so gross, man. Okay. So this... I think this is just Elder Dragon War.
There is an option to just kill the errant and flip the tunnel grinder.
Yeah, and then Elder Dragon War next turn.
Yeah.
With the Takutlan mana. Okay, so is that Bitter Reunion or Tunnel Grinder? Discard
Bitter Reunion.
Bitter Reunion in season. And then just barrage the Knight Errant.
Well, I think you want to keep up more mana just in case you draw something good, so I would actually play the Bitter Reunion over the Tunnel Grinder.
Okay. Discarding the season.
Well, no. Actually, you need to discard a permanent.
Right, of course. Okay, so discarding this Tunnel Grinder.
Yeah. I think it's close. Maybe Tunnel Grinder.
Okay, Brotherhood's End seems better here. Saves more damage.
100% just cast Brotherhood's End. That's so perfect for you.
Yeah.
And you flip the Tunnel Grinder, so your Elder Dragon War is looking really, really juicy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was the correct call to play Bitter Reunion then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brotherhood's End. Okay.
Did they miss? 8 cards down there. No reason to sack this. Yeah.
Well, I think that was a pretty bad. They're just going for damage on board now. That's a pretty bad Knight Errant. They were never going to hit because they're only for the future.
So we could. I mean, we can't cast both. What about Season of Weaving and just bounce?
Yeah, that is actually a good option as well.
Although, with Elder Dragon War, we're likely to hit a removal spell, so Elder Dragon plus Lithomantic kills both of these most likely, right?
I think either option, like, I think at this point, I think you've won the game.
Okay.
They don't have enough to kill you, so either works.
Yeah, so we hit Pyroclasm here, so that's pretty spot on.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, so.
And now we're quite far ahead. Opponent is saying nice, but that was pretty much guaranteed. I think all of our 4 mana spells and cheaper are... Well, I guess there's Bitter Reunions and Tunnel Grinders down there, but we were pretty likely to hit a removal spell of some kind. Say again?
Do you play with the untapped overlay?
Actually, I haven't been because I don't really know. But I can enable it.
Yeah, I do really like it. Just,
it is really good, yeah.
Give me this information, like, even, like, just knowing what you could discover into. Like, if I'm playing against a Graveyard Hate matchup, and I know I don't have any other removal spells left in the deck, and I just have 1 Soul Guide Lantern left, like, that's something that's really useful information.
Okay, so I think Lithomantic and Torture Tower can go here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want the season either.
I think you could keep the season, guarantees the win. You could also drop it. I think either works.
Okay, I believe what I would do is pitch the season here. I'd be looking to hit a dragon. I'll just snap off this Brotherhood's End.
Yeah.
Keep the board clean. And I'd probably Tunnel Grinder for 2 new cards. I guess Takutlan doesn't really... well, it draws us a card here, so that's fine.
Yeah, it's just card advantage, right?
Actually, we'll cast that.
Oh,
Yeah, so...
You just cast it.
Yeah, we cast that. We can ditch all of these. Still no dragons. Play the Thundering Falls. Torch can go in the bin now. Yeah, and now we're just way ahead.
Yeah, so the only reason to keep Season there is if you want to win quickly. Like, you're just kind of bored. So you can season the token that's coming up soon.
So I could Roaring Furnace one of these, Torch the other. Roaring Furnace, the mana cost... Is the mana cost 7?
It's 2. When you discover, it's the side of the room that you discovered.
Okay. In which case, I can see... I mean, I'm on 19. I'm really not that worried, but I could see just Roaring Furnace one of these, hit a removal spell, remove the other one, and then just draw cards.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Or you just hit a card advantage spell. So.
Yeah, start here and try and draw into a dragon.
Yeah.
I'm probably not discarding... Yeah, I don't need to discard either of these. Do I discard a Bitter Reunion here and an Unsummon?
I think discarding 2 cards here is fine. You get rid of their board presence. And you're protected. I would hasten this dragon for some damage. Well.
What was that? Did I miss something? Oh, I didn't attack. Oh, right. Oh, this came in this turn. Right, so I could have hasted it. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I need to move the untapped overlay. Actually, what I could do is I could go down to this corner so you can see the untapped overlay. Rest in peace.
That's fine.
Fine. Yeah, we have the Chandra in hand.
You have a 4-mana dragon. You're good to go. Good to just end this game. I wouldn't torch this.
No, I'd rather wait for them to do something with it.
Yeah, you also have Chandra doubling your torch next turn.
Like you is my thing. Let's go big.
Yeah, we can just play out the Roaring Furnace here. And okay, yeah, they've scooped it up. So do you think the Unsummons come out?
Yeah, I do get rid of both Unsummons.
What would you put in instead? I would probably bring in the Roaring Furnace.
Unsummon isn't too terrible in this matchup because you can unsummon the Warden. You can unsummon a token. So it just count as like spot removal in a way. And you're just saving time for ill-timed. So it's not terrible. Yeah, maybe you just keep the unsummons. Doesn't look
Yeah,
too
just
terrible,
keep them.
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Let's run it back.
So I think they used the Protect the Negotiators as a pretty bad timing.
I agree.
They should mostly be saving those for what's it called?
Yeah. They counted our Tunnel Grinder, I think, or our Bitter Reunion or something, and they probably should have just kept it for a board wipe. Again, it's kind of an awkward hand, but I think it is a keep. I don't love it.
I'm not thrilled with it at all. That they have a strong start and you don't draw a board wipe, you just lose.
Okay, that's not a good draw, but these Thundering Falls are going to get us there. Yeah, I guess we keep that. It's slow.
I'm not sure.
You think we need something better?
I think you need something better. You need a turn 2, turn 3 plays.
Yeah, okay.
If you're just
okay.
waiting until turn 4, that's not a great idea.
Yeah, we have 1 Pyroclasm, 2 Brotherhood's End. It's not fantastic.
Okay, well, a 1-lander, I think. Or not. Slow rolling their land.
Give me Pyroclasm off the top deck. Nope.
If you hit Pyroclasm, that would be so juicy.
That would have been unfair. Okay. Not looking good. Yeah. But even like, I don't know. We're in a bit of trouble. Am I snapping off the torch here? This is a clue, right? Prevent 1 point of damage.
Yeah, I think you do it. I think they just have a protected negotiator, most likely. They're just gonna hold that up, try to ride to victory. Or you could, yeah.
I guess it would have been better to take out the Novice Inspector in case we ill-timed Explosion and want to discard a 1-mana card. They might just counter this, but I don't see that we have any other choice. If it resolves, I think we bin all these cards.
Yeah. Or how many cards do you have in your graveyard right now?
3. So we could go up to 7.
Okay, so they're really digging. Yeah, you have an option. You could keep the Hellraiser, you couldn't. You don't need to.
I think I would bin the Hellraiser here because we need to draw answers to this board. We can win later. We have to not lose now. That's what I think.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Alright. Brotherhood's End secured. I do think they're likely to have a counterspell, but actually next turn we can Dragon because we have Fabled Passage in hand.
Yeah, we do either. So
yeah, so they've left up their 2 mana.
I think they would have kept it up with Kicker, and they would not have kept that. So I think you just go for the Brotherhood's End here.
Okay.
You have no other choice, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna do Fabled Passage, get the counter on the Tunnel Grinder.
And if they have a Protect the Negotiators here,
they didn't.
I think it,
nice read, dude. Okay, yeah, I don't know if I would have gone for that there.
Well, I don't know if like you had a choice.
Wait, why is it revealed? Did they? Oh, did they explore it? Oh, I see.
Yeah, they explored it. Like they were clearly like they would have kept up 3 mana to Kicker it if they had it for sure, 100%.
So if they Resolute Reinforcements and Negotiator, then it'd be worth me playing an untapped land and then going for Dragon?
I think if they do both, your Dragon will be countered either way. Because you need to pay 3.
1
but
for each creature.
Just go for Dragon.
If they kicked this and Resolute, yeah, you're right. Okay, so is this Dragon turn, or is this just Tunnel Grinder and then flip this?
I
Discard
think
the season. Say again? You would just slam the Dragon?
Yeah, I would just slam the Dragon. I would play out the land and then slam the Dragon.
You are much more prone to just slam the dragon and go for the combo win than I am, which is something I might need to try to learn. I'm a lot more hesitant to go for the combo. Damn, they just scooped. So yeah, talk me through that. So I wouldn't have gone for the dragon there because, well, let me think it through. So if we go for dragon and they counter it, then they are left with 3 1/1s on board and dragon has been countered. Next turn, I can't bounce their 1/1s because they're all tokens, so my only play next turn very likely is play out a land, Brass's Tunnel Grinder, probably hit a board wipe or something because we have the Takutlan mana. So, you know, fairly likely I hit some removal, but they've hit me down to 7 at that point. And that's assuming they didn't do anything with their turn. And it feels a lot worse to me for that to happen than for me to play out the Tunnel Grinder this turn. Discard Season and a couple of lands, draw some more stuff, flip the Takutlan, then next turn use Takutlan to play the dragon, and then I'm kind of guaranteed more value. Even if the dragon doesn't resolve, I at least get the Discover trigger. So that's what I was thinking. Talk me through why you prefer to just go for the dragon in that spot.
Okay, so I mean, the first thing to consider is they had 2 mana up on the last turn, and they didn't cast anything, and we know they drew Protect the Negotiators this turn.
Right,
So
yeah, okay.
I'm almost 100% sure they don't have Resolute Reinforcements.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
But to be fair, I was considering the option that they have Resolute Reinforcements. And the thing is, if they counter the Capricious Hellraiser here, Brass's Tunnel Grinder flips either way. And even if they have 3 1/1s, if you can discover with a Brass's Tunnel Grinder and like discard this many cards, you have a pretty good chance of finding something else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like making them have it, I think is more correct. And I don't think they have it, which is why.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're totally right. If I'd have paid attention to how their last turn went, they absolutely would have played out Resolute Reinforcements. Very, very likely they would have after the board wipe, which they couldn't counter. So yeah, if they had Resolute Reinforcements, I think they very likely would have played it there. Yeah, it's just, I guess it was this turn, like, what did they do? They passed with 5 mana up. So it felt like they had something to do with that 5 mana. But
yeah,
well, they
ideally,
didn't.
I think they just don't have anything in hand, or they have like a Knight Errant of Eos, and they wanted to push damage instead last turn. Which I think makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense. Hey man, that's why you're the expert. Okay, should we jump into another game?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, that one was a good one for sure.
Yes, I feel like we have a really good matchup into that deck. I think we have tons of removal. We're mainboarding a few, like, we're mainboarding the Ill-Timed Explosion. After sideboard, we have so many board wipes that I feel like that's a good matchup. I feel like it's difficult asking you what the good matchups are because you seem to have good matchups into nearly everything. But what do you think?
Well, that I think is a good matchup. Obviously, there is a way for you to lose. They just have a good early game and you don't have anything, and then they have multiple Protect the Negotiators.
Yeah.
So you could still lose even with a fairly decent hand. But I feel Convoke is very high rolly. Like either they go off really fast or they're just a middling, like mid-rangey deck. But yeah, I think overall the matchup is pretty good.
Yeah. Okay, this is a keep. Probably go get an island on turn 1.
Yeah, I think island on turn 1 makes sense here.
Rakdos. Interesting. I know I could not give them information here, but I think it's fine. For when we're on these coaching sessions, I am trying to play fast.
Yeah.
Fear of missing.
I would. I have a habit of whenever they cast a spell, I cast it on top, like to dominate the stack.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna hold up removal or moment of truth. Obviously, if they manage to get delirium this time, I'll just snap this thing off.
Yeah. They're playing Vein Ripper. Interesting. I don't know what they are. Maybe Reanimator.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this is 3 black clips, so I wonder if they are running Bloodletter of Aclazots, and we need to be ready for that. Liliana. So we could just take out the Liliana now.
Nobody knows Domino.
I think I would actually cast it. Because you're gonna discard a card anyway.
Yeah, shall I just discard Season of Weaving?
Yeah. Discard Season.
There's an Overlord
you
of
have Explosion for onboard threats.
I do. I would probably fires the Liliana now. Would you just Moment of Truth here?
I can see fires here, because you're going to have to take care of the Liliana at some point anyway. But Moment of Truth does give you more information.
Yeah, and I guess right now we don't have a turn 3 play, so okay. Moment of Truth then. So I think Hellraiser in hand, Chandra in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Or do I want to play Brass's Tunnel Grinder next turn?
I think, well, you have to cast fires next turn. How many cards do you have in the graveyard?
2.
Well,
we don't have to. We could take Tunnel Grinder in hand, Chandra in the graveyard, Capricious Hellraiser back in the deck. Okay, well, timed out. That's my bad. I'll play faster.
no problem.
So this is definitely just, I think, fires the Liliana.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we could allow them to give us another discard. No, because they still have cards in hand, so I might just wait.
Yeah, well, my headphones disconnected for a second, so that's why.
That's right. That's right. I guess I was waiting for you to respond, and then we we timed out. So I'll pick up the pace a little bit.
I think you should have killed Liliana before it gets to down tilt again.
Yeah, maybe.
You have to kill it now.
Maybe.
Oh, you have to kill it now.
Oh right, I did have to do it just then, didn't I? Oh whoops. Well, I could still torch it. I'm playing really sloppy right now. Enduring Courage.
Interesting.
+2/+0 haste. When it dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. How strange. Okay. Well, this isn't very good anymore. Do I wait?
I think you just have to wait until the Liliana. And it's a tough because you want to wipe the board, and if they play some like big creature next turn that comes in with haste, it's gonna be pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, I've absolutely messed this up. What seems in hindsight like a pretty decent position to be in is really strange now. Because now they do have the double combat step.
Yeah, okay. So if they have a good creature, I think you could just be dead.
Yeah.
Even if they don't, you're taking a lot of damage. What is that creature?
Harvester of Misery. The anti-aggro -2. Yeah, okay. Right, so if we untap and Wheel Timed Explosion and torch the tower and exile the Enduring Courage, I think it's okay. They're down to 1 card. They didn't play anything scary. So, okay, fine.
They're probably waiting to play an Overlord or something like that.
So I'm gonna torch this now.
Well, you should wait. You should.
Should I have waited? I want to just wipe the board. Discard the Kiora.
Yeah, well, you don't know what you're gonna draw off the top, right? So you could have waited. You could have held full control after you discard something, and then you have the torch.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But we're pretty much in a top deck war. I think our draws likely are better. There's the Overlord. That's a problem.
Did see that coming, but I mean, what do? You need to draw unsummon here, and even if you do draw unsummon, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're out.
Land Dragon.
Land a dragon. That is not an out. You are dead.
Yeah, still just dead. And yeah, I mean, we totally threw that. That was our game to win. Just that that one turn where it all just went to shit. Is why we lost that. We definitely had we lost so much tempo because I timed out. So that's on me.
Yeah.
So Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. Is this where, I mean, I would probably be looking at Liliana, FOMO. I think Torch is nice. I think Scorching Dragonfire I'd bring in. Brotherhood's End is okay.
I'll let you sideboard, I think, and then I'll tell you what I'll change.
So I would bring in the Nahiri. I'd cut Kiora. Maybe I'd keep Unsummon. I think I'd keep Scorching Dragonfire. I think I'd probably cut Elder Dragon War. Yeah, I would. I think Brotherhood's End is good. Do I care too much? Would I rather have Brotherhood's End than Warcrafting? I'd probably try running it like this. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to bring in Duresses. Don't know if that changes anything.
Yeah, so one thing I would consider here is Ghost Vacuum. They have the Enduring Creature. They have some Graveyard Synergies, which we kind of saw last game. They want to discard things. They might have a Reanimator package.
Oh, of course, yeah. Yeah, they're Delirium. Yeah, of course. Okay.
I think Ghost Vacuum makes sense. I'm not 100% sure if you need Soul Guide Lantern. I probably wouldn't slide it in.
Okay.
Brotherhood's End to me doesn't look good enough. They probably don't have many creatures that are low toughness except for the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So I do like this overall.
Trim and Unsummon
is interesting.
Or Fires. I think I'm going to trim a Fires because they do seem like a hand-hatey deck, and Fires does get worse. It's so bad to top deck it when they're making you discard a bunch, right?
Yeah, but Fires does hit Liliana. Fires hits...
Oh, that's true. That's true. Okay, well, Ghost Vacuum turn 1.
Yeah, I like this. Oh yeah,
yeah. Fires does hit Liliana. You are right.
I had a foil basics at the tournament, and apparently there were little they could cut to them or something, so I had to swap them out. I was a little bummed about that, but I like yours from
oh shit! I didn't play out the Ghost Vacuum. For fuck's sake.
Yeah, you definitely should have.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I even mentioned the Duresses. I thought I won't play it out so that that was so bad. Look, man, I'm tired today.
Yeah, that's fine.
That is fine. Maybe we'll hit it with a dragon. Molten Eclipse.
That's a cool card. And that card does hit Ghost Vacuum.
Oh, that makes sense.
You want to play the island first.
Play the island first. Oh, so I could hold up the red. That makes sense. Luckily, we drew the Spy of Luck, but you are right. I think I might just discard, sack the Bitter Reunion to start filling the graveyard.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, and then just cast Ill-Timed for card advantage.
Or we could take out the Fear of Missing Out with the Torch
I
Tower
think you
now.
kill the Fear of Missing Out with the Torch.
I like
they're not
that.
representing Lily.
Didn't they just play a tap land?
No. Yeah. So, I said I meant they're not representing.
Yeah, okay. So we like this. Keep this in hand?
Bottom that.
Or would you bottom this?
I would bottom that. Just because... what, like, you don't have a way to start it right now, and you just kind of want to draw cards.
So just ill-timed.
I can see you just have some Brass Tunnel Grinder instead. You should probably keep the island in hand. You're gonna do that?
I can see, yeah. Okay, so Tunnel Grinder. Would you Tunnel Grinder here? I think I would. I don't know. I would probably ill-timed here.
Just to draw 2 cards?
I will see what I draw. Because if it's 2 things I want in the graveyard, I would discard them just for value. But okay, you Tunnel Grinder here though.
I would, yeah.
Okay, and keep 1 ill-timed, or pitch
one.
both.
I would keep 1 ill-timed. Just because, yeah, we know they have huge creatures. Okay. It's looking decent.
Yeah. Warcrafting looking interesting here. There's the courage. So this could just be Bitter Reunion, exile this.
Yeah, I think you want to exile the courage, for sure.
So Bitter Reunion, maybe discard Warcrafting?
Yeah, I would discard the Warcrafting. How many cards do you have in graveyard?
7.
Okay, you're really close.
So yeah, we're really close to dragon.
In fact, you could have torched, start stacking the Brass Tunnel Grinder, and just cast the Hellraiser.
We could have... Oh, torch... Oh, yeah, I see.
And that would have been a valid option. But yeah, you probably want to... You could wait to...
yeah, we can wait to do this, right?
Kill the courage. Oh, no, you should... actually, yeah, you can wait now. Now that you've descended, you can wait.
Yeah, so actually if I'd... yeah. They do need to try and discard a card, so let's let them do that before we make our play. Coiling Rebirth targeting Overlord of the Boiler Bilges. My lord. Okay, so let's get rid of this now.
Or you will die on the spot.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Full combo.
Okay, but they have exiled their graveyard for that, because they had to. Yeah, so they've only got 1 card type down there. So I can see Ill-Timed Explosion discard the Hellraiser and just wipe the board. Would you just slam a Hellraiser here?
I don't think I would. I think it is. I think you do go for the Ill-Timed Explosion first.
See what we draw.
You're gonna put on. Yeah, their board state is more scary than anything you can get from the graveyard right now.
Yeah, so I actually think I'd discard the Hellraiser here and then just like cast Bitter Reunion.
I think you just hold up mana.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I would discard
Hellraiser,
the Hellraiser. Here we go.
Haven can go.
And you just hold up Moment of Truth, and then if you don't find another permanent, you can just have Bitter Reunion with Discover next turn.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. There's another Coiling Rebirth.
Wow, you're dead.
It doesn't have haste.
That is insane.
It's pretty insane.
So here's the moral of the story. If you had that.
Oh right, yeah, I see.
Okay, but here's the thing. They could have actually destroyed the Ghost Vacuum, so that's incorrect. So your misplay wasn't really misplay, maybe?
Yeah, I mean they had the so they had Molten Collapse in hand, and they could have cast it, destroyed the Ghost Vacuum. Okay, I mean we didn't know what we were playing against. I feel like I blundered horribly in game one. I feel like most of the time I feel okay against this deck.
Yeah, I think I would say this is I would be able to defeat this deck like most of the time. I think the matchup is good enough.
Yeah,
that you're not
I
too
think
worried. It's very combo-y.
knowing this deck now, knowing the Coiling Rebirth synergy, I probably would play Soul Guide Lantern as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see game one. We didn't see any Coiling Rebirths. Like
No.
I knew they had Reanimator package, but I thought it was just Zombify. But Coiling Rebirth is a cool card. That is for sure.
Interesting stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, we didn't see much of the deck. Like, we saw them discarding stuff with FOMO, with Liliana. I wonder how else they discard, because if all they discard is sorcery speed like that, then
They had Overlord. Do they have the other Overlord?
What, of the Baelmerc? Probably.
Yeah, and then they had Enduring Courage, so I was scared of like some sort of bring back Boiler Bilges and then haste it, and that's why.
Yeah, that would have been that's pretty cool.
Like you were dead the turn before if you wiped the board instead of like if you wiped the board with ill-timed explosion instead of holding up the torch to the tower, you were just dead on the spot, which is interesting.
Interesting. Okay, let's jump into another game here. I am gonna play faster, but I will try not to horribly blunder again.
Yeah.
Still, it's gonna happen when we're like on stream and it's a coaching session. There's a ton going on, and Josh's brain can't keep up all the time. Try as I might. So we'll play out this game, and then we'll have a little chat about how those games have felt. Right? We've played what, like 5 or 6 games? Maybe? Less?
Matches, we played I think 3 or 4.
You might be right.
Yeah, it's the 4th match, I believe. We don't count the
we don't count the disconnects like this one, perhaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So like 3 matches.
Does this happen a lot in Platinum?
No. Maybe they're just taking a moment to pull up the stream.
Fair enough.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a poor showing from the Arena Platinum ladder. Nithin's not impressed, guys. Okay, well, we'll see. This is a good hand.
Yeah, I like the hand. As long as you're not into, like, exactly red aggro.
Yeah. Not sure if if our opponent's there, though. So I want to ask you, we can go into more detail about this after this game, Nithin, but what do I have to do to get out of Platinum Hell? like, what are the fundamental mistakes that I'm making that I need to change to generally improve my win rate? You know, small mistakes aside, I would love to know if you're noticing any sort of macro trends among, like, around my play that I need to address, because I'm sure I could brute force my way through platinum eventually, but I feel like I should be climbing, you know, a little easier than I am. Sweet. Well, that's another easy win. This is this the tactic? We've gained like 4 rungs of the ladder from disconnects alone. Right, should we jump into another game? Let's get one more good game in, and then we'll do that wrap up. Okay. Straight in. I'm going to try and play a little faster and a little cleaner. This is a key. Might not lead. I mean, there's an argument to not lead on Thundering Falls, because then we have plays on turn 1 and 2. But I probably still will. Yeah, in case there's just a... So I'm going to bin that.
Yeah, there's the argument that you draw a... Like...
So we're up against Dimir. Sorry, not Dimir. Golgari. Which I think has fallen off massively lately. I don't see... Like... I do still see Golgari on the ladder, but I don't think it's very good nowadays.
Yeah, at SCG Atlanta, it did not have a good showing. Like, the deck did not perform well. I would just cap Grinder.
Yeah, right. So I don't need this Cabin of Souls. Tunnel Grinder, and just totally new hand.
Yep, just wheel. I do love drawing cards.
Yeah, the wheeling with the Tunnel Grinder is so much fun. So we have a couple of fires in hand, which are nice if they glisser. We have Fable Passage to get a counter on the Tunnel Grinder. We're doing fine. Yeah, this does feel like a very good matchup for me. The only thing I'm looking out for is a Demolition Field for this Restless Cottage, or keeping up a spell, because Restless Cottage is a little bit of a pain.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I love my Demolition Fields.
So I can absolutely just see playing Kiora here.
Yeah, they might have a cut down, but I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. Yeah, if it improves our hand, I think it's fine. Well, I kind of want to discard those 2 Spire Bluffs.
Yeah, that looks good to me.
And then we can save the Fable Passage for next turn.
Yeah, you could also just play it out and then, crack it on your upkeep before you draw.
That makes sense. Oh, well, thin the deck slightly. That's the kind of... That's mythic optimization, that is.
I'm not sure if that actually has any, like, if that has ever won me a game, but it is something I like to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they had to take out that Kiora, but I still think that was fine.
Yeah, you got a Faithful Splitting, and you got a card out of their hand.
So I'm probably going to kick a Fires of Victory this turn.
Probably just do it on this turn. If they drop a Shieldred, or they decide to animate the Cottage.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now, all you need to do is draw into a permanent.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've pretty much got this wrapped up. Yeah, if they just go land, animate the Cottage, I am very pleased. Yeah, I'll take 6 here. I think the thing I'm most worried about is Shouldred.
You do have a second fire, so You have shielded protection.
Yeah, there it is. So we will kick a fires.
Yeah.
Take our 2. Answer the shoulder. Lot of land. Getting a little bit flooded. Okay, am I casting Bitter Reunion with the Tekutlan mana? That gets me, what, like a removal spell?
Yeah, I would 100% do it.
You would?
Because you don't know what you're going to draw off of Bitter Union. You're drawing 2 cards. If you don't draw a permanent, then your Tekutlan is wasted this turn.
Yeah, okay.
And you're not really looking to find some major upside right now. You're not in a terrible situation.
No,
yeah,
Torch is really sweet in this spot.
Yeah, like if you were in a extremely terrible situation and you needed to like do something like that to win the game, then I think that makes sense.
I'm gonna play out this island. Actually, I shouldn't have done that. In case we draw a dragon now.
Yeah. Maybe it was also just correct to hold a moment of truth.
Well, now I want to just wait.
Yeah,
because I do want.
Wait.
Yeah, I want to have fires for the cottage.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Feeling good. Don't need to sack a Bitter Reunion. So I'll just... I mean, I guess I'll lead on Moment of Truth here.
Yeah. Leon, Moment of Truth. If you don't find anything, you just cast, Interesting.
Interesting. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So I think ill-timed in hand, and we can draw. Season in the graveyard. Torch in the library. And then I can cast the ill-timed and still cast the Roaring Furnace.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do Roaring Furnace first. Actually, no. Well, I just... More information. Yeah, so I'll just draw 2 cards.
Well, it's information 2 different ways, because you have information on what you discover into.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, I suppose it is. Okay, so no discard, no discard. Clean up this Dread Knight. Hit a Moment of Truth. Dragon in hand, Furnace in the graveyard, land back in the library, and we are all good for next turn. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we have mana for Chandra and then Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Hoping the opponent taps low, so they don't just have a removal spell for the Hellraiser, but like that's the one thing Golgari does have, is usually they can interact with the Hellraiser. Blissa, okay. So I want to cast Chandra without using the Tekutlan mana.
It's fine either way. But
Well,
I
if I hit like a Season of Weaving, wouldn't Chandra then double it? I guess it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah, if the plan is to go Chandra into Hellraiser, I think that's fine. But it's completely fine.
Okay. Okay, so Chandra.
This war ends today.
Add 2 red.
Fuel up.
Hellraiser. Second Hellraiser.
It's a really good hit.
Unsummon. Well, why not?
Yeah.
I guess we'll decline this one.
Could have Deadly Cover Up. They're playing like a bigger, but I don't think so.
I don't think this really matters, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter because you're not doubling Moment of Truth. If you were going to double Moment of Truth, I would 100% count.
So I think I
Moment of
want
Truth does
Season
seem
in
like-
hand now, or just Hellraiser in hand? Yeah, Hellraiser in hand, another Season in the graveyard. Yeah, we'll do it all again next time.
You got to another Discover trigger for it, and then you want to
Say again?
trigger. Just because you get another Discover 6,
Yeah.
the Hellraiser in hand, and yeah, you definitely want to haste to get the good damage.
So we have 16 cards in here, and I think 3 of them are Season of Weaving. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty far ahead. Maelstrom Pulse, nice.
That's a pretty good. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Still, they are
get
tapped.
by,
Yeah, they've only got 1 mana up now, and we still have a Hellraiser in hand. 2 Hellraisers in hand.
Okay. Should be game. You don't. You should probably wait on plussing Chandra here.
What, in case?
Typically, you need to use Chandra to burn the opponent to death.
To burn the opponent, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, there's another Chandra.
Okay, yeah, that's you can just use it. I would just cast it.
Yeah, we'll keep this one.
Yeah, you have lethal multiple different ways. If you have season, you have lethal. If you don't have season, you have lethal. You don't need to cast it. You could. Either way.
How many cards have we got? 14.
Yeah, you're not in any danger.
I want to ritual the Chandra again. Is that, or should I leave it?
You should just leave it. If you don't hit
Well, if I can dome them right
lethal.
now, get them down to 7, and then this is lethal anyway.
Yeah, you have lethal anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Cannot hit.
Yeah, so in this situation, if you had
this is
food.
fine. This is fine. Because we can still just swing for 8. Okay. So, against Golgari, I actually think there's very few changes to make. The only thing I'm worried about is Shouldered, so I would bring in Nahiri's Warcrafting, and I would probably... I'd probably cut the Kiora. Like they might side some of it out, but they have so much removal. I don't think Kiora is very good against Golgari.
So I can see Kiora going or Elder Dragon War going. I think everything else looks good tonight.
Yeah.
Elder Dragon War is if they just slam Shieldred after you use the first mode, it's really awkward.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super, super bad. Elder Dragon was a bit better against like loads of bats, and we haven't seen if they're like a Preacher deck or a Sentinel deck yet. I guess Elder Dragon War is bad in more situations.
Yeah, worst case Kiora trades 1 for 1 and you get a Faceless Looting.
Yeah.
It is awkward into Glissa because like the 8/8 doesn't matter into Glissa. But you have so many ways of killing Glissa. I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think most Golgari players have reached a consensus that Glissa is not good enough.
So Sam is playing the Lunar Pact deck, and not to very much success, it sounds like, in the chat. But Luna Pact, it seems like a really hard deck to play, Sam, so give yourself some time to learn it. Hire Aaron Gertler as a coach. That's the trick. Yeah, this keep.
Yeah, that's good.
So there's a cottage. We have drawn demolition field, which is very nice.
Yeah, definitely happy with that.
I'm gonna bolt the birds and just roaring furnace the elves instead of.
Yeah, I would do the same.
Yeah, instead of. I try not to play out Shivan Reef when I can help it.
Yeah, you don't need to cast play Shivan Reef here. You just Shivan Reef is played because you don't have many options for lands in Izzet.
There's a preacher. We do have a kill spell for it. I think it's important to just kill it now.
There is an argument to be made that creature's nowhere near as scary as the Shield Grid next turn.
That's true. So and we could just tunnel grinder.
Because if you kill the creature here, and they cast Shield Grid next turn, your tunnel grinders are basically turned off.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's a really good point. Not one I would have considered. I'm gonna chuck these 3 away. Keep the demo field. Keep the fires to answer a Shouldered.
I personally do discard more aggressively. Like, I probably would have just gotten rid of the demolition field there. Like,
would you?
I would have, like, I would have played it out earlier. If I drew it, I would probably just discarded it. Just because you want to see more cards, and like right now, Restless Cottage is not the threat you're scared of. Here, I think you want to play the Fable Passage here, crack it so that you.
What I want to do here is demo field, kill the cottage, get the counter on tunnel grinder, and then hold up a fires.
Yeah, that also works for sure.
Just because, yeah, I mean, it's just mana efficient, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I did need to do that at sorcery speed. But, sue me. Oh, I played land, of course. Yeah, so end the turn here. I think I need to stop one of these creatures from attacking. Well, no, there's the Shouldered.
So if you kill the creature here, do you have enough cards in hand? I think you do kill a creature here.
So I kill the preacher, and then on my upkeep, draw a card, and then kill the Shouldered.
Yeah, taking 2 damage from Shield is not bad, and you deny them a card draw.
Soul Guide is kind of fine right now.
Yeah.
We can just keep our powerful spells in hand.
But you do flip Tunnel Grinder, and you have 6 mana next turn, like next turn. So, and Soul Guide Lantern doesn't stop the Tunnel Grinder from flipping.
Yeah. So we can take out the Shouldered.
Yep.
We can
Yeah,
passage.
so now that I'm thinking about it, keeping the Field of Ruin did stop some pressure from them. I don't think it would have killed you. Like, if they're spending 4 mana activating it next turn, I think that is a win.
Yeah.
Where they're not advancing their board state, and then you have a Hellraiser coming down with Discover. But it is nice to have it, like, out of the way and not something to have to worry about. Pretty bad draws.
Pretty bad draws. So we're just ending the turn here. We can just cast a Hellraiser now, because even if they exile the graveyard in response, we're still getting the Discover value. We also do have the room that we can unlock at some point, and we're like, yeah, I think we're in a fine spot. But I think next turn probably is just hardcast Hellraiser anyway.
Yeah, and if you can get how many cards in your graveyard?
7 right now.
Okay, so
There's
if you
another
can get
shoulder.
9, ooh, that's annoying.
That is annoying, but we'll deal with it.
Okay, so there is an option. So, if they didn't have the Shield Raid, you could cast the Hellraiser, and then as the trigger's on the stack and they sacrifice their Soul Guide Lantern, you can sacrifice your Bitter Union to still get value from the purchase Hellraiser's like trigger.
Oh, that's smart. So I was going to
But-
sack Bitter Reunion now, and then try and
Not
hit
now.
with Thundering Falls into the graveyard. But yeah, that makes sense. So in response to the Soul Guide Lantern, I can sack it.
So here, I can see you just sacrificing the Bitter Union and trying to get 9 cards in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Because although if they're heads up about it, they can like stop the Hellraiser from coming down, but like they can still make you pay 6 mana for the Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my initial plan of casting Hellraiser and then sacrificing Bitter Union in response to after they've resolved the Soul Guide Lantern doesn't work here because they have the Shield Raid. So
Yeah.
yeah, you have 2 options here.
Okay.
Maybe you keep the Bitter Union around still.
Well,
say, but-
I'm gonna go for it. See if I can get them to use the Soul Guide Lantern. But there's a lot of things we can hit. We can hit like Season of... Okay, yeah, so they went for it. That is fine. Chandra. Actually, can I just cast that Chandra? We're on...
Oh, yes, yes, that is so beautiful.
Yeah. That's so good. That doesn't kill Preacher and Sheoldred, though. But...
That's fine, I just want to Shieldred off. The creature won't kill you next turn. That's
yeah, we
guaranteed.
are getting into Discover, so... Oh, there's a second Chandra.
Yeah,
That's so
probably.
good.
Okay.
Oh, that's brutal.
Well, someone had to save the day.
Yeah, absolutely brutal for them.
So this is
Oh,
just down
the
tips.
Chandra.
Fire isn't just a tool, it's my ally.
Yeah, you want to go for the minus. Actually, I do just minus Chandra Hope's Beacon first.
What, and
If they
deal...
have a removal spell here, just kill both and just get rid of your Chandra.
Oh, yeah, okay, I can see that, in case they do have a removal spell.
Yeah, because they did have a moment of priority and they did hold it up, right? Like
Yeah.
you saw the pause.
This isn't happening.
So if in response to you casting Chandra, like you minusing Chandra Flame Shaper, they decide to kill your Chandra Hope's Beacon, you don't get to kill both.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And then just uptick.
Yeah, just uptick.
Think fast, fight hard.
And yeah, you can kill the little one.
Yeah, I guess we'll take the torch.
Maybe they didn't have anything, in which case, could have kept both Chandras around. But it did look like they paused. I'm not
Well,
sure
yeah,
what-
plus we have Dragon in hand, so actually getting this in the graveyard is fine. Because we're
that
gonna...
was the idea.
Yeah, we're gonna likely get it back next turn. If they spend their turn trying to, like, exile it, that's still also fine for us, right? So I think we're doing fine. They have
That
2
is a little
mana
bit-
up. If they use it all, then we can Hellraiser and make a copy.
I think they
So,
are
I mean,
holding up.
I just think Slam Dragon here.
Yeah, you just Slam Dragon.
Torch is fine.
Time to light up The darkness.
Not sure if you should plus on Flame Shaper here.
Use it wisely.
Yeah, not yet, right?
Like, I mean, +1.
Like, I'll start with... I'll discard the Thundering Falls.
I think they're baiting you into trying to, yeah, use the +1. So just use
Yeah.
the +2.
So
No
shall I
reason to
attack
go
first?
Yeah, you could. You could just haste it in.
Yeah.
They remove it in response anyway. We're playing around removal just because if they don't have removal, they're pretty dead. So there's no reason not to play around removal. Okay, you just +1 then.
Oh, well, yeah, I
Just
guess.
getting started.
Yeah, that's awkward, right? Yeah, so I've messed that up somewhat.
You can take the ill-timed explosion. And then play the land and then cast it.
Cool. Yeah, Gorgori feels like a matchup that I feel very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so there's Oh, Sam, sorry I ignored you a little bit. How have the games gone so far? I think the games have gone okay. Actually, that's a question better asked for Nithin. There's a few questions for Nithin in the chat. I'm just gonna fire some of these off, Nithin. I'm gonna put the deck up on the screen. So Sam is asking, have you ever toyed around with, I guess, different colors for the deck? And I think this is a really good question because, like, especially for the Hellraiser and the Tunnel Grinder, these are such good cards. You're mainly red. Blue probably became the secondary color primarily because of Season of Weaving, but I do wonder whether like what do the other seasons do? Is this any good? I guess not. That doesn't seem that good.
Yeah. So like I can like talk about how I like came up with the deck if that gives you some insight. So primarily, I pretty much play just Izzet, like, and I like to brew in Izzet mostly.
Mm.
I did try mono red Hellraiser to begin with Season of the Bold. Season of Bold is nowhere near as good as Season of Weaving.
Yeah.
Like you hit it off of Hellraiser and you're like, okay, how do I win the game? It doesn't win you the game in any way. It does have some cool value, but I'm not like Season of Weaving is just way better. Aside from that, like Brass's Tunnel Grinder, I love the card. And here's the thing: you can build this deck pretty much just red, and then just have Season of Weaving as a splash. That is an option. Obviously, Season of Weaving is very powerful to cast, just because it is a very castable card. It is a powerful card, in its own right. So if you built Rakdos, then either you would have like you'd have to play a 3-color mana base, which is not, it's pretty tough in standard right now, just because yeah, like the lands aren't great. Aside from that, like having the option of casting Season of Weaving is very important. So I would never like go red black and then just have Season of Weaving. And then like using Brass's Tunnel Grinder as just, I've seen people use it just to like enable Reanimator. But having a large amount of cards in your graveyard isn't as important for these decks. And yeah, I think Brass's Tunnel Grinder could definitely work in like just a Rakdos Reanimator shell. I think some decks do try that. I haven't personally tried it, but yeah.
What about stuff like, I mean, yeah, so I know you've been playing with this deck for a while. I'm looking at Mirror Room and thinking, I don't know, is that good to hit off of a Tunnel Grinder? What other things in other colors? What are the spells in other colors that you think are really good to hit with Tunnel Grinder? Did you think about Jaya? I considered Jaya. When you talked about Ral being good, I did ask myself whether Jaya was potentially also good to just put a bunch of pressure on by itself?
Well, I think like just comparing Ral and Jaya, like Ral seems way better to me.
Hmm.
They have a very similar +1. Jaya has more flexibility, and she can potentially kill a creature, although she's expecting you to have more creatures to do that.
Yeah.
Her ult isn't really relevant. I mean, we don't really care about ults in standard anyway when
Yeah.
it comes to planeswalkers. So I wouldn't like discount her because her ult isn't good in the deck.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think she's a worse Ral. And if you're playing Izzet, I would definitely play Ral over Jaya pretty much
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so what other, was there ever a point where you considered a different, color build for the deck? I know some people in the Discord have mentioned Grixis. Have you ever toyed around with Grixis? Thousand Year
Grixis.
Storm?
Okay, Grixis is interesting because you have access to something like Breach the Multiverse, which is a very powerful spell.
Yeah, of course.
And it would be really fun to cast. And what I did see that you brought up Omniscience in
Mm-hmm.
the Discord. And that is also a card I've considered. I've tried it in Best of One, and I've had like a little bit of fun with it, but I've never actually tried it seriously because it's like I'm just looking at it from like a theory point of view, and like it does have a lot of weaknesses. But there is a new Azorius deck running around that like reanimates Omniscience. Difference
Yeah,
there is
I've
they
I've,
always are
I've seen
guaranteed.
it. Yeah. Um, so it runs like the Abuelo's Awakening,
Yeah.
to reanimate Omniscience as a 1/1, and then it just pops off. I have beaten it with this deck once, but it is when it's when they have the Brewer's advantage, it's a really hard deck to beat because you just don't see Omniscience coming.
Yeah, like they need to get Omniscience into the graveyard and then they need
Mm-hmm.
to cast Abuelos, so there is some setup involved. And if they do draw it, I'm not sure if they have a way to discard it. But the reason why Omniscience works like better in their deck is just because they have like counter spells that protect the Omniscience. They also like Abuela's Awakening is guaranteed, right? So
Yeah.
maybe like Hellraiser, if you can't guarantee it, I'm not sure if it's like any if you can't cast it, then I don't know if the card's good enough to play with Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at on those cards. Another card that people consider is like Teferi.
Sorry,
But
what
like
was it? Did you say Teferi?
yeah, that's something I looked at before. Like if you were on the thread of Planeswalkers, right? Like Jaya. Like Teferi is interesting because you do draw a lot of cards,
Hmm.
but you comes down at 5 loyalty with only 4 it comes down to 5 mana with only 4 loyalty, and then if you -2, then you get a 2/2 and another 2 loyalty planeswalker. That's not enough for me at 5 mana. And like
Yeah.
drawing one card and you're at 5 loyalty, I just feel like he doesn't do enough.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
But like if you
Yeah.
want to play the deck for fun, you can have these fun of one-ofs.
Yeah, yeah, you absolutely can. I've been considering just shoving Omniscience in. There's a few spots in the list, like I think Elder Dragon War, Kiora, this Flame Shaper slot. These are slots that you can play around with for sure.
Yeah, I do like Flame Shaper a lot. Like
Mm-hmm.
at the start, I was pretty skeptical about the card. I was like, it's probably just worse than the third Chandra. But I think it has really earned its like it does a lot for
Yeah,
sure.
it is really good. I on your advice sideboard it out against a lot of the aggro matchups, but in those matchups, creature heavy matchups where you do resolve a dragon, most of the time I would rather have Flame Shaper than Hope's Beacon, because it can actually just clear a board, right?
Yeah, so my reasoning, I mean, I think you could also just cut a Chandra's Hope's Beacon. That wouldn't be terrible. It's just
Hmm.
Chandra Flame Shaper is one more mana. And like like if you're playing against a hasty deck, right? Planeswalkers, like these planeswalkers are worse because they're gonna deal the damage and then you're gonna go the next turn and then activate to kill whatever.
Yeah.
So that's why I do cut the planeswalkers and I've been liking it. Like I've moved on now. Or against like red aggro, I cut all the planeswalkers and I just play Season of Weaving
Mm-hmm.
and I just combo to win the game. And that has
Yeah.
felt
Interesting.
fairly good to me.
So against that's interesting. I'd not heard that because mono red is really tough. Right. That's a tough matchup, I think, for a lot of people. What tends to be your strategy? How do you sideboard against mono red?
Okay, so I've been cutting all of the Chandras, and then I've been cutting a few Breath of Tunnel Grinders. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been my strategy for sideboarding recently. I think it has worked out for me fairly well. Yeah, like if you hit the Season of Weaving and then you're gonna cast more spells from the graveyard anyway, you're gonna cast removal spells, you're gonna cast whatever else is in there. So instead of just casting one Chandra off of the dragon, I'm much more happy doing that. Chandra is better if you're hard casting it than Season of Weaving against an aggro deck because you do
Yeah.
get to kill their creatures.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm having to hard cast a Chandra, I'm not too happy. I would rather look to hold up mana because they do have hasty creatures. I want to hold up interaction to stop whatever they're trying to kill me with that comes in that turn,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Interesting stuff. All right. That's enough theory crafting. I want to refer you back to the question I asked earlier when we were waiting for our opponent to decide whether they're playing the game or not. So we've had 2 coaching sessions now, which I know is not much, and I'm looking forward to more. I hope you guys are too. I'm planning to have Nithin back on. I might do 1 coaching session not on stream, because as much as I do want to share all of this with you guys, I do also kind of want to see what the experience is like being coached while not also trying to stream. Maybe I'll try recording it for YouTube instead, so that I can still share it with you guys. But I think that makes a degree of sense, to try a session and not stream it. But that's besides the point. Nithin, let me ask you, look, so today we played a few games, and I'm now like halfway up Platinum Tier 3, which is good. That is progress. But what do you think I have to do to make it into Mythic with this deck? What are there any like fundamental patterns that you think I need to work on and improve? You might not have an answer now. Feel free to think on it. Let me know. But what do you think?
Yeah, so I think you do think through all of your like things. So like fundamentally, I don't think you have any issues. Like just were some decision points where we would make different decisions. I think one thing you need to like think about, how do I win the game?
Yeah.
That's something that came up with the, getting the Hellraiser off the Moment of Truth, where like you're not just looking, like you're not like a perma control deck. You do need to find a win con, and if you find a win con and it hits,
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. I think and this is something I learned in this session, but I am looking at the information I have and how to answer what my opponent is doing, where you are thinking about, okay, well, how do I actually win the game? Rather than reacting to what your opponent is doing, you are thinking about more proactively, what can I do to just end the game? Because you don't have to answer what your opponent's doing if you just win.
Yeah.
So definitely, I don't know how exactly I can make sure that I'm doing that, other than just asking the question, like, okay, what do I need to do to actually win? But I noticed that in this session as well, that I'm much more focused on what is in front of me on the board and in my hand and in my opponent's hand. Whereas you are thinking more about what the next few turns are going to look like and what sequence, what lines need to occur for you to actually close out the game.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Yeah, that's good insight.
Yeah. The other thing is, like just looking at what your opponent could have. Um, like I think there's a lot of experience. Like I've been punished where I've killed something on turn 3 or turn 2, and then they cast a Shieldred or something, and then I just have Tunnel Grinder in hand, and I'm just like sad. I'm just like, okay, so I have to cast the Tunnel Grinder because I need to find a way to get rid of this Shieldred, and I can't just afford to do nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then
Yeah.
so that's experience, but also like knowing the meta
Yep.
and like just planning and thinking about what your opponent could have. What are the ways you lose, right? So not just how do I win, how do I lose also matters. I
Yeah.
think you do think a lot about that when in terms of Kaido, because I think you've been punished by Kaido quite a bit,
Yeah.
which has given you a little bit of trauma. But
Yeah, I do. I do have Kaito trauma. And I have recent shoulder trauma. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That does come from experience. I think that's one of the quirks of playing any kind of control list, is that it's strongly tied to you knowing when to answer what threats, because no control list can just answer every single thing your opponent does. That would be busted. The balancing of like the natural balancing of control is that you have to make choices,
yeah,
and those choices do just improve with experience. So play more, that I can do. How do you gain experience against a new deck? Like, look, let's talk about this Lunar Pact deck, right? Let's say, because Aaron Gertler is a very good brewer.
okay,
So he's he's a very good brewer. He's played this deck in the last few days and has been super successful. I have not actually crafted the deck yet, but I think I will give it some play. But looking at this deck, so I'll send you the write up he did on it. It's on Spikes, r/Spikes. It's a good read, and he is a great brewer. So if we assume this deck starts to do well, how would you, if you knew you were going to play like a competitive best of 3 match against somebody playing this deck, how would you go about learning the deck? Would you play it? Would you play against it? Or would you theory craft and just read all the cards? What would you do if you knew that there's a Sam is in chat, he's got this deck crafted, you're about to play him for all the beans, what would you do if you had like an hour to prepare?
okay, well, if I were a professional player, maybe I would like play the deck and then do something. But like I only play Izzet Hellraiser. I do play other decks for fun, but from like an aspect of how do I beat this deck, I would first compare it to other decks I know in the meta. The town ain't big enough. Storm Chaser's talent is not something new. Something that's very common, and we did see the Demir bounce deck, which this deck is quite
it's very similar, yeah.
Very similar to. This deck has a lot of cheap creatures, so I'm already looking at whether sweepers are good or not. It does have this interesting demonic pact win con.
Yep.
Now, there's only 2 copies of it, and I'm not sure without Tishana's if there's like a better way to play around it than just bounce it with season.
Yeah.
So I would not overly concern myself with it. I might play a few negates. But what does the sideboard of this deck look like?
So we've got a Duress, couple Ghost Vacuums, Get Out, Go for the Throat. There's 1 Shouldered, a couple of Fear of Imposters, which I've not seen anybody play ever. Nothing too weird. Neutralize the guards for the cage decks, I guess. Honestly, I think like they bring in a couple of Ghost Vacuums and maybe not even definitely a couple of Ghost Vacuums against us and a Shouldered.
Yeah, so I'm guessing Duress, Ghost Vacuum, Get Out comes in, Shieldred comes in.
Yeah.
Fear of Imposter probably comes in, Tishana's comes in, and perhaps Blood Out also comes in. That's a lot of cards to come in. But they obviously have a lot of good cuts. They have nowhere to run to cut down to cut.
Yeah.
Bottomless Pool could be cut. But Bottomless Pool also allows you to bounce your own creature, so that's not sure about that one. But they're very much playing a value game. If they don't have the early Hopeless Nightmare, then they have to go for the beatdown plan.
Yeah.
their plan? Do they have a way to actually win with Demonic Pact or no? I don't think they do. They're just
I don't think
infinite
so.
value.
I think it's like, so you've got Prophysidetic Memory, which I believe is also part of the win con. Do you know what, Sam? Maybe you can explain in chat what this deck actually does. But you've got your discard spells, like a bunch of value. Prophysidetic Memory allows you to make a big old creature and beat down. Or put a bunch of counters on a Fear of Isolation or something. And then, of course, you've got Demonic Pact, which I suppose if you're like... Win cons are unironically Hopeless Nightmare and bouncing it infinitely. Okay, yeah. Fair enough, Sam. Hopeless Nightmare has proven to be an insanely busted card. Super, super strong. Yeah, okay, interesting stuff. Anyway, so, yeah, as somebody who plays a fair amount of Magic, but does not have time to play tons and tons and tons, what would you recommend that I do to learn more about the meta? Oh, did the stream go down? It did. Ah. Looks like we're back. Nithin, can you hear me? No, we're not back. Okay. Now we're back. Hello, folks. Sorry, I had a little internet outage. Nithin, can you hear me? You back,
Hello?
Nithin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
cutting
Yeah,
out.
sorry, that was my end. My Wi-Fi dropped out for a minute.
Okay.
But we're back. Yeah, so what I asked was, what would you recommend I do? Do you recommend that I just play more Arena, gain experience that way? Or is there a better way to learn the meta than to just keep playing?
I think you can look at stats on what decks are being played, familiarize yourself with what
Yeah.
answers decks have. So, like, I'm useful for that. A meta deck, for example, we can.
All right, I lost you for a sec there, Nithin, and we're dropping a ton of frames on the stream. So I think, yeah, I think we're kind of... The stream is going again.
Okay.
Okay, do you know what?
Can you hear me?
We've been streaming for a little bit. I'm going to very abruptly end the stream. Sorry, folks. It looks like I'm having some untimely internet issues. But I'll go sort that out. I mean, it looks like it's back now, but it's a good point for us to wrap up anyway. So I'm gonna close off the stream. But thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'll let you guys know on Blue Sky. If you follow me down below, I'll let you guys know if and when Nithin is going to be back. But these coaching sessions are super useful. So far, I'm really enjoying them. Hope you are too, Nithin.
Yeah. Hope you're getting some use out of this.
Well, you bumped my win percentage up by about 20% already. So maybe after this one, I'll go to a solid 80% win rate. Who knows?
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
who knows?
already better than mine. So.
Okay, folks, I'm going to wrap up the stream, but say goodbye to Nithin, and I will see you all on the next stream, which will be on Friday night, 7 p.m. onwards. We're going to be back here for Friday Night Magic. I'm probably going to play more Hellraiser. Maybe I'll play a little Lunar Pact. And I'm going to have a couple of draft videos up this week on YouTube. So that's all, again, down below. You can find links to everything. But that's all from me. So goodbye, and I will see you next time. No outro music, by the way. So it's just gonna abruptly, the stream's just gonna abruptly end. Sorry.